Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 193 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Wade's here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast, it's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan. You have now done that. I reckon you've done that close to 200 times, that.
Well, it'd be about right. And I almost
you say
did
it on every workshop. Yeah. We say it on every workshop, and then you say it here. So you've probably double-toned it.
I wonder if I've ever said it in my sleep. I probably have.
Sell.
That'd be weird.
Imagine if you just randomly just sat up. Hello, everyone. In the middle of the night.
That would be some nightmare.
Yeah.
No. Nice. Look, it's good to see you. Welcome back to Tasmania. You've been all over the joint.
I've been all over the joint. I've been everywhere, man. Got back yesterday. It was a big trip. Sydney, and then, like I think you said, I was a South Australian for about a month.
You were.
Yeah. Look, it's every time I go through Adelaide, I keep saying the same thing. Really pretty place. Jeez, I wouldn't live there. I don't know. There's just something about it that I don't know what it is. But like even just driving around, like it looks like it should be easy to drive around. They're all blocks. But it's not. It just turns into a shit fight, and I don't like it. So, we've been away for a while, so it's nice to be home. Got some nice images, had some great times, saw you along the way, saw a few customers as well. And then, saw a bit of the Flinders Ranges that was as green could be. I've never seen it so green in my life. Popped around on Kangaroo Island. That was a pun. And then back to the Flinders and then back home. So, and now just in time to do another episode. And when was the last episode we did? Was it?
We did one about 3 weeks ago, and some guy was supposed to put up a video in the middle, but he never did. But that's okay.
That's right. Haven't you? You've recorded it though, haven't you?
It's in the can, as they say. It just needs to be cut up and put up on the channel. But life gets in the way, as does work and all that sort of fun stuff. It was great, wasn't it? Kangaroo Island was a blast. Fantastic spot for photos. So tonight we're going to show some of our photos from Kangaroo Island, from the Kangaroo Island trip. Have a bit of a chat about that. We've got a couple of other things that we're going to talk about along the way as well. We're going to show some photos of the week, as we always do, talking about Flinders Ranges. Cam's going to show just how green it bloody well was there, and it still is. And I'll actually be over there in about a month. So it'll probably still be green.
Yeah, that's right. You are heading over there, aren't you?
Yep. Just doing a holiday, basically. Actually literally going away with a few mates in their four-wheel drives, which will be great. I can just don't have to worry about my vehicle. I can worry about theirs. Well, they can worry about theirs, and I just got to document the thing basically. So it's going to be
just break theirs. You're on as official event photographer almost, aren't you?
I think they want photos, so which will be great. Right. I mean, as if I won't take my camera. We're going to do Flinders Ranges, Lake Eyre, and we're possibly now looking at doing a crossing of the Simpson Desert because parts of the stuff to open up. Because we had issues because the joints flooded. We sort of had to change things to go to Lake Eyre instead, but now it's looking like we might be able to get across part of the Simpson at least to Birdsville. So we're looking for that. I've got my maps here of the Simpson Desert. Thanks to my good friend Pete for loaning me actual paper maps. So
right.
They'll be
the good old Hemmer maps.
They are, exactly.
Yeah. We used to take them when we used to go traveling around a bit. Well, that'd be awesome. How long is that trip going to be?
We've allowed 2 weeks, but we think it'll be probably 11, 13 days, 11, 12 days, something like that. Right. We haven't sort of set out a definitive endpoint for it because for contingency in case we can get across the Simpsons, so we might need an extra day or two out there. So, should be good. Looking forward to it. Big grouse. I can show everyone some photos of the Simpson or of that area on the channel at some point.
Does anyone have Starlink?
Yes.
We could do an episode.
Possibly.
That'd be cool. Around a campfire in the Simpson Desert. Oh,
Yeah. I'm sure those blokes would love it.
Just have
they'll be like,
live studio audience out the back. That'd be great.
they'll be like, take that to your swag weights. Get out of here.
You could just walk down the road, set it up, have a nice sunset as it's happening.
Oh, nice.
We should talk about this.
My people talk to your people. Speaking of, here you go. There's a photo of the week from you. That's how green it is at the Flinders Ranges.
Yeah, I've got a few photos in there that are green.
Truth.
Yeah, it was like a golf course. The entire area around there was as green could be, everywhere. It was a good experience, but we had a couple of people on the 2 trips like, oh, I'm really looking forward to seeing this Outback Australia and this rustic color. I'm like, you're not probably going to see much of that, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But unique in its own little special way. So it was very cool. This is our first evening. It was very windy this first evening, and the photo doesn't show that. But yeah, I was just like, wow, how this is on the second trip we did. I'm like, how green can it be? So if you've ever been to Flinders Ranges before, it's generally that rustic, classic Outback red, orangey color, but not at the moment. I would suggest not when you're going to be there either. It'll probably still be a bit green, I reckon.
Yeah. I think although long to like for the next month, there's nowhere near as much rain forecast. It'll still be pretty green. So are they worried that they're going to have issues with like, plagues of kangaroos and stuff, given they've got all this feed out there?
Well, possibly. The funny thing that we didn't notice, wasn't as many animals around that we could see, and a lot of the locals were saying, well, because there's so much feed out in the fields and out in the backcountry there, they don't need to come closer to the road to try and get that water and the feed that's there. So I would suspect there will be an issue. I think it's going to be an absolute bumper wildflower season. If I had the time, I would consider going back up there just in September sometime to check out the color, because even though it's a weed, that Patterson's curse is coming out already. There's a bit of purple coming out, and along with a few yellow flowers along the way. So I think it's going to be a bumper wildflower. So if anyone's after some Outback wildflower sort of photography, Flinders Ranges this year could be the spot for you, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm kind of optimistic that I'll get a few flowers happening by the time I get up there in 4 weeks' time. So that should be pretty cool. Here's another shot from the Flinders Ranges of yours. So you're getting shots of the week, shots plural.
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite shot of the trip, which is the aerial shot we did with doors off at about 4,000 feet above the pound. So that's sort of looking sort of at the southern end. That sort of more lit up peak there is the Rawnsley Bluff. Very cool. But just to see it with sort of overcast skies and green, that almost looks like the Grampians or something like that. It looks like somewhere further south where it doesn't get that bone dry color. It was very unique. And then flying around, this is on the second tour. I didn't get to go up in the plane on the first tour because we had 3 flights booked on the same afternoon, and the second flight came back into land and the weather just came in, and I was meant to be up on that third one. But I did get up in the plane on the second tour, and there is a topic we'll talk about as we get into it. It was a pretty amazing flight with a pretty special individual that some people may have heard of that joined us on this trip. So, but yeah, beautiful spot, but just green. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's another one here.
Yeah. Like rain showers.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, so those little apartments down on the bottom left sort of side, that's where we'll stay. That's Rawnsley Bluff, where we stayed, Rawnsley Park Station. But this is the second flight I went up on the second trip. I got to do a couple of flights. And just as we came around with the pilot turned around to the right, and I'm like, oh, look at all the showers around. Let's get shots of that. And it just didn't feel Outback. That was the thing. It just felt like it wasn't Outback. It just felt like it was somewhere in Victoria or southern New South Wales or something like that. So but very cool to see, and whether or not it's like that next year I'm not too sure, but yeah. And again, just green, like that looks like Grampians or something like that as well. Yeah,
it looks like when you get that shot of Mount William in the Grampians, quite similar, because when I was coming back from Kangaroo Island, when I went to there and when I was driving back, just before you get to Horsham, you get these beautiful views across the Gramps. This looks very similar.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about the Flinders Ranges that you'll love is the river gums. The trees up there are just spectacular. Like there's just littered. Every little stream just has these incredible gums and huge root systems and amazing patterns on trees. You can see why so many people love going up there, and especially artists, painters, and photographers go up there to capture the beauty of it all. So yeah, you'll have a good time up there. I'm excited to see your take on it and see how you come back with images.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I'm sort of in the hands of others as well. I mean, I'll be able to call the shots a few times on going where we go to take photos, but they're not photographers, so I'll have to sort of balance that up. You know, and not get them to stop every 10 minutes on the way there as well, which will probably happen.
Yeah, it's hard. And we have that sort of challenge as well when we do the trips. I think one of the customers said it the other day. He goes, you drive past 1,000 photographs before you even get there. Well, it's hard not to pull over. You'd never get there if you took every photo you saw. So
can I go back a shot to this one? And question without notice, what did you shoot that on, please?
So that is on a 16 to 35mm lens, and I had that set at ISO 800. I was shooting at f4, and I was on aperture priority. So the shutter speed would have been around about sort of 800, 600th of a second. And that was on the SL3 that I have, but at about 35mm.
Yep. Now, is that doors off from a plane, or is that through a window?
This is actually through a window.
Right.
But the customers are in the back with the door off. So I had one of those sort of what do you call them, like the convexed mirrors, convexed windows. So you can actually have a little bubble that you put your lens into. So I was shooting through a bit of a window. The guys in the back were shooting through open door. Yeah.
So f4, so you could shoot it a bit brighter and increase your shutter speed to counteract the vibration of the plane.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's interesting. Like whenever I've done aerial stuff, I've always kept it in aperture priority, and I've always shot relatively low apertures like f4, f5.6, and put the ISO up a bit. And the shutter speed will generally naturally go up pretty high, which will, like I said, counterbalance the shake of the plane and the movement of the plane and things like that. The person that I went up flying with also gave some tips to the group before we went up, and they're pretty much the same as what I would have suggested anyway, which is a good thing for me to know. But there's been a lot of people I've been on trips and they, no, you have to shoot shutter priority and you must shoot it at this and must shoot it at that. And again, there's still that sort of overlapping lack of knowledge between what each mode does. I find manual mode, shutter mode, and aperture priority mode. The light's the light. Like if you're going to get a thousandth of a second shutter speed at f4, well, it's going to be shutter speed 1,000 at f4 on shutter priority. It's going to be the same all through your modes. For some reason, I think people think, if I put it in shutter priority mode and put it down as 1,000th a second, I'll get some sort of more, dynamic shot or something like that. You won't. It's the same thing. So it was reassuring to me to hear someone say that they shot it the same way I did. And that's how I've always done it. And the shutter speed was fine. The sharpness is great. And, the depth of field's not so much of a problem because you're sort of compressing a lot of it by shooting at infinity. Pretty much everything's miles away. So so it was good.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. The Flinders Ranges, man, it just, I'm quite excited to get up there. And every time you've come back from there, your photos are always really impressive. So it looks like one of those spots where I probably can't go wrong. Hopefully we'll see. Touch wood.
Yeah. Take your big lens, and no doubt if you're going on a 4-wheel drive trip, they're going to go through all the gorge roads, which they're unreal. Like, and they'll be stopping where you want to stop because that's where all the good 4-wheel drive spots are and the lookouts are and stuff like that. So I'm
optimistic of that, and I'm also pretty keen to eyeball Lake Eyre as well. So given that it's now full and they reckon there's every chance to be water in it for the next couple of years now. The chance to be able to camp next to Lake Eyre is going to be pretty cool. And that whole area it just looks amazing. From what I've been keeping in touch with a couple of the guys that run flights up there, because we'll do a flight while we're there too. And they put photos up today of the pelican chicks that have all hatched now on the shores of Lake Eyre.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that these pelicans know that there's water in Lake Eyre. Like, how do they know that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. There's some other means of communication that we're not aware of.
Yeah, it's what do they just yell? Hey, it's over here. This is my photo of the week. This was actually last night, Cameron.
Last night. There you go.
Yeah, so this is, I've put up photos from this place before, and this is Clifton Springs, which is on the northern side of the Bellarine Peninsula, just 10K, 15Ks that way from me. It's a classic. It's very cliched, this old jetty ruins, but there's a reason for that, and it's because they just lend themselves to fantastic photos when the conditions are right. So yesterday I was lucky enough to have David with me, who's a friend of the channel, David Skinner. You would know that name, Cameron. You've seen him in the comments.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
BFOPper as well. I first met David at BFOP a few years ago when I found his wallet. Weird. Anyway, that's another story.
How did that happen? Yes.
Yeah. And David booked me for a one-day Bellarine tour, so it was awesome. I got to show David my backyard. He'd been down here a long time ago, so he'd seen a lot of the changes with development and things like that. But he was quite excited. We met at sunrise at Point Lonsdale and then made our way basically around the whole peninsula and finished here at sunset. So it was a great day. But the conditions, I just kept, even from about midday, I was just looking at the conditions and just thinking, this is going to be a ripping sunset. We're going to get some really cool color here. And it was dead calm and it was foggy. When we got there, there was actually a fair bit more. You can see a bit of mist on the horizon in this shot, but like you can barely see the horizon because there's mist. And in the gaps of that jetty on the left-hand side, you can normally see the Yuyangs, but you can't in this shot because of the mist there. Anyway, the mist actually started to lift, and I was sort of like, oh, no, we want a bit more of that, but it sort of made for a pretty cool sunset anyway. And while we were there, friend of the show, Pete Langdon, rocked up as well. So he was over there taking some photos too. So little reunion. So it was good.
Did he ask you beforehand if you could shoot your jetty or not? Or
yeah, look, I give special people permission, and Pete gets special permission. He's a good guy. We'll let him do that. So yeah, Clifton Springs, guys, if you're ever down my neck of the woods of Bellarine Peninsula, go over and check that spot out. It's a good spot for photos.
How long ago was that jetty a jetty?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Like
no idea.
It would have been a pretty cool jetty by the look of it. It's quite big.
Yeah, pretty wide, There's more jetty ruins further to the east, so to the right of this image, further along, which I haven't even explored yet. And they're quite similar. So, I mean, I've only been here 20 years, so
I was going to say, like,
I'll find the time eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah, like 20 years, you probably can't be expected to just check. How far is that from your house? 15 minutes?
I could be there in 15 minutes. Yeah, but I just keep going to this spot because it's always awesome. It's just I can't get enough of it. So for those of you playing along at home, this is done with the 16 to 30 Tamron f2.8 on my Nikon Z5 Mark II. From memory, this is about a 4-second exposure, and it was I use an ND filter as well and polarizer. And just sort of there was some little bit of rippling on the water because there'd been a couple of guys out fishing in their little kayaks. I think I sent you a photo of that today. And they sort of came in right beside the jetty and they were making these ripples. And it's like, no, it's okay. They can be here too. It's fine. So they ended up just sort of trying to smooth the water a little bit, and it worked quite well. So that was fine.
Yeah. Excellent. And what was it? 16 to 35 lens too, did you say?
Yeah, the Tamron 16, is it 16 to 30 or 16 to 35? I think it's 16 to 30. I should know that. F2.8. And if you read the reviews for that lens now, it's reviewing its head off. Like, people are really raving about it. And it gets a vote of confidence from me as well. I really, really like that lens. So good stuff, Tamron.
You should let the Australian Tamron ambassador know that, don't we know him pretty well?
Yeah, I've got a feeling I know who that guy is. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's all right. I wouldn't go overseas with him or anything, but
He gets too many mentions on this show, so we won't mention him.
Yeah, who? Don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought what we might do, Mr. Blake, is show people some photos from our trip to Kangaroo Island, because we are a photography podcast after all. And I thought we might just sort of go like a game of tennis, backwards and forwards, one-on-one.
Yeah.
So I might kick things off with one of mine, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm just going to put my phone on silent because I was just realised it wasn't on silent and waiting for it to buzz.
Oh, nice.
Do go ahead. Go ahead.
That would have been a penalty. We've never had that happen, a phone interruption on the show.
Yeah, I just would have got Donald Trump to ring up and reverse it. It's okay.
That's right. So Kangaroo Island and the sea
selfie.
Pretty much. I mean, you know this, Cam. Like when we did the scouting trip as well, it was the sea lions that did it for me. I don't know. I just connect with that animal. I'm not going to say it's my spirit animal. God.
I think it is your spirit animal. I think you just said it. I don't think you have to say it. I think you've just implied it. So your spirit animal.
And I think what it is, though, honestly, I think they just remind me of my Labradors that I've owned over the years. So I've always been a Labrador man, and they're the Labradors of the sea. And this guy just reminded me of Buddy. So this was Cam and I organised a private seal tour. Private seal viewing or sea lion, viewing here at. It's funny because they always correct you and say no, they're sea lions, and yet the place is called Seal Bay.
Yeah.
So that's why it's easy to get.
It's got to be a Parks and Wildlife piss take, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably it is. And I think his name was Jack who took us down. Was it Jack?
I think it was Jack. I think it was. He had a great sense of humor, Jack.
Yeah, he was. Jack was very, very good with us, and he corralled a group of 12 photographers who only just wanted to not listen to a word he said and just take photos. But he was very, very good at making sure that we followed the rules and stayed within the bounds, even to a point where when we got us on the beach, he literally drew a line in the sand and said, "You do not cross this line," and everyone obliged, which was great. But I said to the group when we got back off the beach that, personally, speaking for myself, I felt really privileged to be down there amongst them. It was very, very cool to be that close, particularly to sea lions that had young with them as well. They were obviously pretty used to people being down on the beach. We never felt under threat at all. However, Jack did tell us that, be prepared, that some sea lions get a little bit angry and don't want us down there. So, but they're all pretty cool and chilled out. But this was one... on the way down. This is actually probably one of the first that we saw. He was like a juvenile, probably about the size of a Labrador, actually, just sort of arrived over the crest of a little sand dune and started honking and carrying on like they do. And it's almost too easy. It was so nice. And we had great light, as you can see, plenty of good sun to get the shots. So this was just basically metering directly off the sea lion itself and making sure the light was right, not blowing out the highlights on its fur and stuff like that. And then letting it do its thing. So it was grouse.
There is something about them just sitting around doing their own thing, isn't it? Like, yes, they're used to us humans. We know that, but they're still doing their native thing of just sitting around yelling and carrying on with each other and playing and sleeping and swimming and surfing and that kind of stuff. So it was good. I thought the trip was good down there. I must admit I was a little bit disappointed about the fact that we just got put in a box. I know we were sort of like the out of place species. I would have liked a couple of boxes to be able to go around and have a look at, but obviously we've got to be careful of the wildlife and keep away from as much as we can and follow the rules and stuff like that. So I totally appreciate that, but would have been nice if we could go just a bit further down into another box and get a slightly different mob of seals. But maybe I was saying that because I only had a 200mm lens on instead of a 1000mm lens like everyone else. So, they were cool. They were good. They are very cute until they get really big, and then they're not so cute. But they're okay.
even they're full of character. Those big guys as well. Righto, let's chuck up one of Mr. Blake's from the trip. There we go. That's yours, mate.
Yes, this is the Avenue of Trees minus the Carnival of Courage.
True.
So we got this shot We went there for a sunset, a sunrise. I can't remember now if that was a sunrise
We
or sunset.
actually ended up doing
twice.
sunrise, and we did sort of late in the day, but
Yeah.
not sunset.
I think this might have been the sunsetty one. I think this is when you went down to check the road out to see what it was
Yeah.
like. Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen it sunset night before. Anyway, avenue of trees. That's something I do like about the island is there's quite a lot of avenues of these beautiful little trees and avenues and tunnels and light coming through and dirt roads. They always make great shots. So again, this is on that little Leica SL3. That's my 70 to 200 on there. I like to, and I explained it on the day as well, I like to actually shoot fairly wide open for these kind of shots and focus towards the back of the tunnel. You can sort of see the front section of trees are out of focus. I think that sort of helps draw your eye down to the sort of center of the frame down the back there. But it's all about just getting that nice light coming through at the right time of day. I think this worked both as a black and white and a color. I think I did both. But it was good. It was good. I mean, on the other side to the right of this, there's another avenue. We had a bit of a wishy-washy line of road going through it, and that was also pretty cool. But yeah, it's one thing I do like about the island is that you've got a few different options for tree tunnels. And we did start with one on the main road that sort of failed a little bit because people were almost getting run over by cars and trucks. That truck couldn't get up the hill.
I think what caught us out was the amount of traffic. Like it really surprised me. Kangaroo Island was actually, I think, busier than when we went and scouted it. Maybe it felt busier anyway.
Yeah. So, but that was just one. There's, like I said, there's probably a dozen of these avenues you can get into and have a look at. So, I enjoyed that. We went there a couple of times, and I enjoy something about that sort of vanishing point and sort of dirt roads. It really sort of says country to me. I think I've got another one with the wishy-washy line, which I didn't put in there of the curved road. I think that's probably a better shot, but it was good fun. So that was that one. That was my first one.
For me, I like the straight shot better than the curved road. I don't know why. I got more. I think I got better results from the straight line shot. But what I enjoyed here was showing, well, particularly I think when we got back there later, the light was a little harsher, and explaining to people how to expose for the hero light in the shot. In other words, the light that you can see almost on the backside of some of these boughs rather than on the front of it, because the ones in the left are pretty much in the shade, whereas the ones on the right are being backlit from the sun, and trying to explain that's where your light is. That's your light source. So that's what you want to try and expose for. And I found initially when we got there, people were blowing the highlights a lot because it was like, it's that classic, it's sort of like it'll trip you up when you get that mottled light where you've got shadow light everywhere. And you just always fall back to that rule of thumb of, okay, well, what is the light? And the light is bright, so let's expose for that. So rather than exposing for the shadows, in this case, it was exposing for the light. And I think it was great. I think people really got a lot out of that, and it was a good lesson for everyone there. And the shots that I've seen from there's been a couple where you organised for Cheryl to walk down the path. That was cool. That was really cool. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any dust to kick up because it had been raining the whole week before we got there. So.
Yeah, that was a little bit annoying. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like you just got to use those conditions to your advantage, and some locations really lend themselves to some sort of soft light, some really work for harsh light. I think these sort of can do a bit of both because you do have that sort of leading line and the patterns. You can sort of get away with color, black and white, harsh light, soft light, and I think it still works pretty well. So you
could literally expose for either light source and get it to work. So
for sure.
This was something. I mean, the remarkable rocks. I mean, the amount of times someone rolled out the joke that they really are remarkable. They are. They're incredible. They should be the incredible rocks, really, because how the hell this thing exists is beyond me. Like it's like nature's joke. Like why? And these are gigantic boulders that are basically perched on a cliff top that have been eroded away into these wicked shapes, and you get lichens, as you can see the orange lichen on there, and you get green mosses and stuff, and then the black marks from where the water's been running down it over millennia. It was really cool. What I wanted to do here was really try and capture the texture But B tries something a little bit different, and that is this is shot at f2.8. So, shooting wide open to try and isolate a little bit of the structure in these rocks, from that gnarly background back there. If I feel like if I shot this at even 5.6 or f8, they would blur too much together, and you can see the rock, the main rock behind is slightly blurred, which gives that front one a bit more sharpness. So something a little bit different for me, and you always like experimenting and doing stuff a little different.
Yeah.
But this was the first night we did the long haul straight across the Remarkable Rocks for sunset, and I think it was a great place to start because it got everyone's juices flowing pretty much straight away in terms of what Kangaroo Island's going to offer in terms of A, light, and B, just that cracking landscape that it gives you.
Yeah, it was a remarkable place to be. It's ridiculous though, but that rock there is probably the size of a small car, which
no doubt,
it almost looks like a prehistoric scooter or like a rock age scooter or something with a little wheel on the front. But yeah, they're incredible, and they're just sitting there, and you're just like, how the hell did this happen? And with all the erosions and things like that over time, you could easily spend a good few days down there exploring that region and getting all the different rocks and different angles and patterns and things like that. So yeah, it was very cool. You can understand why there's such a draw card, because I haven't seen any rocks. Like, I've seen boulders and things like that, but not rocks that have eroded away and created patterns and shapes like these have anywhere that I can think of. So and not only that, I think what's really cool is that they're really just perched on this big granite mound. So it's almost like someone's just grabbed them and just sprinkled a few rocks on top of it and walked off, because the view at the back and the view the other way, like we actually saw a whale swimming along here as we're there and things like that. So like, it's not only the rocks, it's the viewpoint as well is quite impressive.
Yeah, no, it was great. Good spot to kick things off. And then I think on the fourth morning, we went across to Cape Willoughby, and this is one of Cam's shots from Cape Willoughby Lighthouse.
It is, yeah. I took a walk down the bit further, and it's a bit of a drop off the edge of these cliffs, but it was actually a bit easier to get down to here than I thought it was going to be. I just literally thought I'll just go have a look over here for 5 seconds and maybe get a shot from up the top. And then I realized it's almost like these zigzag paths all going down to where all the rocks were. And I thought I can do that without being dangerous and silly, and got down there. And I thought, all right, let's put the lighthouse in here. The sun was coming up. There was a few things I liked about this. The lighthouse was good. The red lichen on the other side was cool. The movement of the water I enjoyed. The little window I created there with the warm rocks with the sun on it, and the other ones a bit backlit. And then just that little green rock cropper, or what do you want to call it there, pig face plant, I think it is, just to splash up a little bit of the foreground. But yeah, it was a good spot, and it was a bit windy where we were, but where I was down there wasn't too bad. It was actually a bit out of the wind. But yeah, another great spot. And then next year we can eat breakfast there because they're building a beautiful cafe just down the road from there. But lighthouses make great photo opportunities. And then again, right time of the day. I think I just had this, again, this is a 16 to 35. Probably shot this about f16 to try and get as much depth as I could in it. I didn't have any neutral densities on, but because it was pretty early, I think I can get down to ISO 50 on that camera as well. I think from memory, it was about a 4-second exposure. So I remember I took a few shots, and I was trying to plus the 2-second self timer. So 6 seconds of trying to figure out when that wave was going to hit that rock there. And I know I did a few sequences where it didn't work, but that one just got the rock exploding on the water exploding on the rock, and I snapped away.
Yeah, it was very cool. We found this was a good spot, a good learning spot for a few people, because handling your camera on a tripod in the wind, that classic example where people will leave their strap dangling, and all that's doing is vibrating the hell out of the camera. So showing people how to, tie the strap off to their tripod, or at very least wrap it around their wrist and hold on to it while the image is trying to happen. I think we sort of got to this spot, and although it was gorgeous, it was quite breezy, and a lot of people instantly headed down to where you did, probably more to shelter from the wind a little bit more, but there was some really cool images to be had down there. I was lucky enough to, as I was sort of packing stuff into the car, to bump into the lady that's taken over the whole lighthouse area, and they've got accommodation at the base of the lighthouse. And as you said, they're building a little cafe. It's a restaurant which they're happy to open for breakfast and things if you give them enough notice, which is pretty awesome. Not a bad spot for a little coffee shop.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good. It might ruin our view of the kangaroos back up the road with the lighthouse in the back, but we can
actually
that out.
I noticed that a couple of shots from people that posted to the WhatsApp group that we ran. You could see it. You could already see that restaurant.
That's right. So that's just got to have to train the kangaroos to hop a bit further right out of their way. I will mention about something I saw there, which I thought someone was very lucky not to lose their camera and smash it to pieces. I'm going to call him out. Pauline, who was on the trip. When I came back off the hill where I was down here, I got back into the wind. The first thing I thought, geez, it is breezy. And I looked up and just saw this tripod just on its own in the field, up high with a camera stuck on top of it. And I'm like, I wonder whose that is. And I looked over and there was Pauline about 150 meters away down the other end of the little peninsula there taking photos. And I'm like, well, if that goes, that's on you. So Pauline got away. She was lucky, but never leave your tripod unattended up high in big winds, even if it is grassy underneath or rock. You're going to smash a rock. Murphy's Law will say it'll fall over into a rock, not into the grass. So,
well, there was that guy last year on the Great Ocean Road trip up at Mariners Lookout who set up his camera on the tripod, and it not only did it topple over and land millimeters from a cow pat, which would have been hilarious. Right. That would have been the best content of all time.
I think it was a Canon too.
No, it was actually an Olympus EM1X with a 12-200 on it because it was mine.
Was that yours that dropped?
Yes.
Didn't someone else's drop as well?
Yeah, we had two up there, but one of them was definitely mine. So guilty as charged. And I found what the thing that people probably don't realize is when the flip screen. So when you put a flip screen out, it's a little sail and it will catch the wind and it will blow the whole thing over.
I just don't get how people just do it. Like even at Flinders Ranges the other day, someone did the same thing. We're on top of this nice big lookout, Pugilist lookout, and it was pretty breezy as well. And we're shooting the mountain range in front of the Wilpena Pound, and then behind us the sun's coming up, and it's got the layers of sun and mountains. Like, that's pretty cool. And this one guy just walked off and just started shooting the other way. I'm like, dude, like you're on a rock. So I went and actually unattached his camera and put it back underneath the middle of the tripod. And I know it's easy to do, but that's the first thing I'm like, I do not leave cameras on tripods. Just take them off. It takes 2 seconds on clip and put them down there. And
the one that gets me, and look, I mean, I guess people can be excused because we're seasoned photographers. We're out there a lot. We still make mistakes, sure, but the thing that I see a lot, and you picked up on it as well on Kangaroo Island, was the people that set up their camera and they'll either have their backpack still on their back or with one strap, and it's getting in the way, and they're trying to set. It's like, okay, give me that bag. Let's put that here. Yeah. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. It can be here at your feet while you set everything up. I even noticed David, who I had with me, and he won't mind me saying this, that he was guilty of that, like where he'd have just this bag hanging in the way. And it's like, no, get your gear on the floor, on the ground where it can't fall any further. And that's what these camera bags are designed to do. Like you can lay them flat on their front and, and unzip your bag from the back to get your stuff out. But it was always funny when you'd see people battling with their gear. It's like, put it down,
The one that does my head in, and obviously, again, seasoned photographer and been doing these workshops for a long time now, and just watching people's the human behavior around these things, is that you'll have 2 or 3 cars, and someone will put their backpack in your car, and then they'll just stand at the back of the car just to make sure that you close the boot, to make sure no one else puts their gear on top. And if they end up having to be in another car, they're like, oh, no. Oh, my bag's in the other car. Yep, we're all going to point A.
That's right.
But my bag's in that car. Well, you're not playing with it. It's in the back. You're not touching it while it's driving. Yeah, but my bag's in the back. I'm like, just sit in that car. They're all going to the same spot. And you just watch it. You come out. Sometimes I'll pack the car or whatever, and you'll go around to start the car or something like that. And you'll come around, and everyone's just standing around the back, just watching their gear in the back. Just watching it, just staring at it in the back of the car. It's like, what? And are you going to close the boot? Oh, no. I was going to open all the doors and fly. Of course, I'm going to close the boot. My gear's in there too. So it's just so funny. You watch it and just like, what are you guys doing? And I think it's the same with their backpacks. They just don't want to put their backpack down because someone's going to trample on it, or a pelican's going to pick it up. Like, just put the thing on the bloody ground and just leave it there.
It is funny. I don't know. Human nature, I don't know. I mean, as I say, we do it a lot. So
photographers are a weird bunch. We know that.
Guilty. This was Admiral's Arch. So we did the Wednesday we dubbed Wildlife Wednesday. Well, I dubbed it Wildlife Wednesday, really, because basically we spent the day checking out all the wildlife sort of spots around Kangaroo Island. But then on the Thursday night, we ended up going to Admiral's Arch, and the wildlife here, I think, trumped pretty much everything everywhere else we went, because we went. Now, this is where the seals are, not to be confused with the sea lions. These are seals. So so there's actually a couple of seals in that photo, which are hard to see, but they are out there. They're out on the ledge. And
I can see a couple with a couple of beanies on.
And so when we got here, we went across to one of the lookouts, and we sort of, looked down, and there was one spot, there was one ledge where I counted 30 seals. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then right below us, the seals were just playing in the water, landing in the rock, like lazing in the rocks. Anyway, I'm here chatting with Mr. Blake, and all of a sudden a pod of dolphins comes past. Sure, why not? Like, it's the Garden of Eden there. It was unreal.
Yeah.
And the dolphins, were sort of they weren't as active as I would have liked, but they were certainly sort of going down the front of waves and turning around and then sort of popping up out the back. And that was so exciting to see as well. So if wildlife's the thing.
They must have a good life, the dolphins. They look like they're an animal that always has fun. Be like a Labrador.
They seem like the cool kids of the aquatic world, for sure. The dolphins, no one gives them any grief. They just cruise. They're good looking. They know they're good looking too, don't they?
Yeah, and they're super intelligent. So that is look at you dummies. Look at you guys getting eaten by a shark, not us.
Funny story about this photo, because
hope you're not going to talk about the two-way radio.
This one, not that story. That story, what happens at Admiral's Arch stays at Admiral's Arch. That was very funny.
It might have stayed there. I think a fair bit stayed there, actually.
I think a fair bit did. So before we got to Admiral's Arch, before we went back into Flinders Chase National Park, we stopped at the visitor centre for lunch. And got talking. I was walking through just having a look at all the it's an awesome visitor centre. Unfortunately, it was burnt to the ground like 6 years ago, so they rebuilt it. And the new building is amazing. Like, it's a gorgeous visitor centre, and they've got a lot of boards there, and you can go and read the history of the island. You can read, the ancient history. You can read the white history of it as well. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I asked one of the rangers, do you know if you can actually take a photo of the sunset through Admiral's Arch? And they sort of scratched their head, and they sort of, I think so. Then they sort of weren't sure, and they walked over and got another dude, and they said, do you know if the sun sets through the arch? And he's like, I'm pretty sure it does. And then I walk over, and here on the board is this massive photo of the sun setting through Admiral's Arch. And I went, oh, it does. This photo says it does.
You think they'd know that, though, wouldn't you?
And it was quite funny. And anyway, so we're looking at photo pills and apps and stuff. And like, I reckon we'll be very close to having the sun coming. Well, for the last hour of the day before sunset, we had full sunset straight through the arch, which was awesome. And and we sort of worked it out that it only really happens for about the 3 or 4 weeks either side of the solstice. So good timing by us, whether that was luck or good management, whatever.
We'll go with luck. Are we there at the right time next year?
Right place. We better check that. Right place, right time. But what I loved about it was this infrastructure that they've got there as well. It's made for photographers. Like, seriously, it's brilliant. They've got heaps of room there. This isn't the only platform. I'm obviously stood up on one taking this photo. Across to the left, there's another one up higher where I know Shazbang spent a lot of her time getting some awesome shots from up there. And, of course, the light just crept in as the sun went down. The light just got further and further and further into the archway. And we just got to watch seals playing and like photos of rimlet seals. It was just nuts. So, I love this spot. I thought this was one of our best locations.
Yeah, I think this was a highlight of the trip when it came through there. And we just had that beautiful sort of golden light. I wasn't looking forward to the drive home afterwards, but those kind of moments certainly allow you to sort of hang around as long as you can. And it's a good shot. Everyone's on the platform having a bit of a yarn, and I can see Russ with his big giant lens. I can see Shazbang. I can see Libby. I can see all of them there. Yeah. So yeah, I think Cheryl and I might have been out of frame. I think you told me to get out of frame for this one, I think.
No, I told you to get into the frame, and I think I've posted the shot before you were in the frame. But anyway,
right.
sorry.
Okay. Well, I knew it was one away to the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great spot.
Yeah. I had a series of photos. But the other cool thing about this spot, and I think it's overlooked, is the boardwalk on the way down to it. Like there's photos everywhere off that thing. Like it's crazy. Yeah. And I always found myself sort of walking down, just looking out to sea, and there goes another, gannet sort of flies by, and then you can see more seals off to this side. You can hear the seals. They sort of sound like dogs barking in the distance. So very cool.
Yeah, you could smell them. You could smell them as well.
You could certainly smell them. Anyway, that's enough of that. This is one of yours, Cameron. This is I think this is the best shot that you got on Kangaroo Island. Well, what you've shown me so far.
Yeah, you're probably close to it, I reckon. So this is the morning we did a King's Coat for King's Coat, or was King's Coats? King's Coat.
You got it. King's Coat.
King's Coat. Sunrise at the old jetty. This is not the old jetty, obviously, but the old jetty is just around to the right. But that was a stunning sunrise. That was a cracker. That was one of the better ones I've seen this year of sunrises. And then we had a few people up the top who weren't comfortable coming down a little track to get down to the shoreline, but they also got equally good shots from up the top with the old jetty running out in the water. I thought they were pretty cool as well. But I think it was either us, Rick or Russell, one of us mentioned like the birds it's like the birds were on this sort of weird loop. Like one flock of birds had come through, and then the next flock of birds come through, then the next flock of birds come through. It's like never-ending flocks of birds. So as the light got really nice, I got my long lens out. Again, this is on the 70 to 200. Probably shot at 2.8, focusing on that little jetty, a little buoy out there. And I just waited for birds to come flying through. I got a series of different sort of structures of birds coming through. It was a nice, easy one in the end. Just when you got that beautiful light and beautiful location, point and shoot was pretty much how I went.
It was absolutely remarkable, the color change that we went through while we were there. And of course, I went down the hill first because I wanted to just make sure that the ground was all right and all that sort of stuff. And I found myself down on the rocks. And then I realized I don't have a camera. I sort of got down there, and then everyone started coming down. So I thought, okay, well, I'll show you the way. So I walked all the way around to the jetty, and then I'm looking, I'm going, no, I better go and get a camera. So I went back and got a camera, and it was actually quite fortuitous that I did, because the sunrise just went nuts. Like it just got better and better and better. So the next photo that I'll put up was one that I got from there as well. But you're quite right. The bird life is nuts. Like there must be just millions of the bloody things. I think there were cormorants, weren't they, that were flying by?
Yeah, they were. There was a lot. Like it wouldn't have been an exaggeration to say 500 birds flew past us that morning. Easy.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say more.
Yeah, like this is one of the smaller groups that came through, and then like you do one, you're like, oh, that was cool. Oh shit, here comes another flock. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, oh, here's another one. That's pretty cool. And the only thing that stopped us taking birds was the light just started getting a bit too harsh for us. But
that's right.
It was incredible.
Yeah. And so because I sort of ran back to get my big lens, I was able to get this shot, so this is the on the one of the sticks of the old jetty. So it's called, I think it's actually nicknamed a stick jetty because it's the posts are still just standing there. And how narrow is it? The gap right through the middle. Like it's literally, it feels like it's only like 2 feet wide, maybe not even.
I don't think it was a great jetty.
Not back in the day, no.
No, I don't think it was one of the better ones they made.
No, but now it's a cool subject. But so as the sun was starting to rise and the big hot spot of the big ball of gas was coming up, I'm like, I reckon that sun's going to rise right behind that cormorant that's sitting on that pole. So I ran quickly around the point and put the big lens on. This is at 600 mil, and this is what 1/8000th of a second looks like, shot straight into the sun. So it was good fun. And the cool thing was I barely had to touch it in the edit. Like it just worked because I don't know, it just did. It was just happened to be right. I mean, I actually, there's, by the way, I'm here to tell you, there's no difference between 1/4000 to 1/8000. They look exactly the same. So what I was trying to eliminate, though, notice on the bird itself, the actual silhouette's not that sharp. Like it's sort of a halo effect.
Yes.
And I was cycled through different shutter speeds trying to eliminate that, but I couldn't really get rid of it. I'm not sure if anyone's sort of got any advice there on how to sort of make the silhouette even sharper on the sun. Maybe it could have even been a matter of even needing more zoom to do it, because you could actually be looking at a bit of aberration on the lens. I'm not sure, but it was.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I reckon it might be the chromatic aberration of the lens, but
it's just basically pushing the lens beyond what it can actually do. But I suppose perhaps maybe a teleconverter might have helped it as well, just to tighten up even more. But yeah, gee, I love this photo so much. I instantly made it my screensaver on my phone, and I was pumped for that. And it was one of those ones where it's like, right, the sun's going to rise. Can I get the bird in the ball of the sun? And it's like, yes, you can. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and that's the good thing was there was a bird on that post. Every post. See, every post was a winner.
Every post was a winner. Right.
Yeah, you could have had your pick of posts. Yeah, very absolutely. Cool. That's very very summery, isn't it? Very that could be like a beer bottle logo or something like that, or a tourism shot for somewhere.
But how you can see how rickety the jetty was. Look at the angle of that post.
yeah. It's not a good jetty. I don't think it was
no,
very
it's
good
not.
Stuff.
And here's one of yours, Mr. Blake.
Yeah, I just thought the Remarkable Rocks, something different angle. They got all these little hook nose sort of rocks that are there, and again, I was sort of just chasing the light, and we had all that sea spray coming up a bit towards the end of the day. So I thought, let's try and get some sort of shape and lines in there, and maybe a bit of light out the back. But again, I really do enjoy the texture of granite and lichen and things like that all mixing together. So nice and close. This is shot at 16 mil. Again, I think I shot this around about f11 just to try and get as much depth out the back as I could. But really just about getting that sort of foreground, that curvy bit of rock as sharp as I can. So, again, another cool place, another cool moment. And I also like to play off between the grassy tree bit, then straight into the granite, like those sort of two types of surfaces where you got wooded and granite, and then you've got water in the background. I would have maybe liked a bit more water, but this is what I got at the time.
Wouldn't it be cool if you could be there right after a massive rainstorm and you get a lot more puddles and reflections and stuff? Because we had a few. But it would have been. It'd be cool to see this glistening at sunset. Geez, I'm asking too much. It's amazing as it is, but it's. Yeah. But the thing that blows my mind about it is the granite, and it's. Yeah. Rock's hard, right? But granite is friggin' hard, and it's just it's this juxtaposition of this really raw, hard mineral in this amazing soft landscape. I think that's what makes it.
And it's got, like, I think you're right as well. Like, it's got all the smooth edges and corners and curves. Like, you think granite should be all slaty and chopped into squares and things, but it's sort of all soft shapes with this hard granite. So yeah, you're right. It's it is a juxtaposition. There's a big word. That's a photography word that pops out of it.
Too late in the evening, our time for that. And then this is back at said jetty at Kingscote. This was probably one of the last shots I did of the pelican. There wasn't a lot of pelicans, but all of a sudden this guy just came out of nowhere and started sort of that thing they do where they sort of cruise along the surface of the water. And sometimes they get inches off the surface and they just glide like that. It's this amazing sort of defies the laws of physics that they stay in the air and just glide along. It was really cool to see. So luckily it was right at the end as we were walking back, and I just happened to still have the big lens in my hand. So, and I think that's the same channel marker in the back that from your shot.
I think it is. And I remember I was there when you were taking this shot, I think, and just how close his belly got. Like, he was literally skimming across that water. Like, he was even closer than what this photo was. And that must be fun for them. He's just gliding along, and then he didn't touch down. He just kept going, but clearly he could get more speed by sort of just sitting down low and skimming across the water. So very cool. They're a cool bird, the pelican.
They are. They're good. Excellent to photograph the pelicans. And last but not least, we're going to go back with one of yours, back to the good old Remarkables. This is a cool shot. This is a very good overview of what you get when you go to the Remarkable Rocks.
Yeah.
Great spot.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to depict on this photo. Was just, again, just showing you where those rocks are all balanced on top of that. So all the rocks you've seen in the previous shots are all balanced up on their little table of granite there. So yeah, just the shot. This is actually sort of come down from the car park. I thought I'm just going to get a shot of the whole thing just to give it a bit of an idea of where it's all sitting. It almost looks like an old castle that's ruined on top of a bit of granite. Maybe it was an old alien or something, a castle or something like that. We don't know. We don't know what's down there, do we?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I like your sky in this.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a 70 to 200. I've got really into shooting this 3x1 crop. I'm a little bit addicted. I did everything in pretty much everything in the Flinders Ranges at 3x1 crop, and by the end of it, I had the entire group pretty much shooting 3x1 crop. So, but yeah, I like it. It's just a lovely little snapshot and sort of profile of where you are. So I can do that in camera, but obviously it's easy enough just to edit with a 3-to-1 crop and just pick out the sort of best bit.
Speaking of profile frames, who I sell a lot of their frames, now make me a 30-inch by 10-inch frame for this very reason. I basically got them to custom make me a 3x1 crop frame. So it's got a double white matte and then that really nice Victorian ash timber around it, or I do a black, or I do a white, or a dark timber. And ironically enough, and funny you should mention it, that just today I sold 2 of them to people that had images. I'm looking at it going, gee, that's almost exactly a 3x1 crop. So we lined it up with a frame, and what do you know? One lady came in, she had a photo of Uluru with water cascading off it, like in the rain. So
that's the shot I want.
Okay, you shall get it one day, my friend.
Yeah, no, I am going to get that. I need to get some more weather warnings and a bit more time to be able to jump on a plane, but that's the shot I want. That's the one I want.
All right. So there you go. That was Cam and I's experience on Kangaroo Island. We have received a few photos from people that were on the tour as well, and shout out to you guys who came along. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Well, we know you enjoyed yourselves. We know you got some great photos. Perhaps next episode we'll show a few of your photos. So if you wouldn't mind sending them through to me, that'd be awesome. But we'll show some shots from people we took to Kangaroo Island next time.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Jenny, Russell, Kathy, Christina, Pauline, Libby, Tracy, Sharon, and Rick. Only a couple of you are sent through photos. So if you're watching this, pull your finger out. Yeah, pull your finger out and send us some shots so we can put them on the show. Otherwise, we're just going to keep recycling our stuff, and then we want to see your stuff. So I know one has, or 2 have maybe, but we need more. So they're all keen for it at the time, aren't they? That'd be a great idea. And then they get home back into life and they forget about us. And yeah, and that's where we stand now. So
that's right. Exactly. Now, Cam, you teased us earlier.
Yeah, I did.
You said you had Australian aerial photography royalty on your plane at the Flinders Ranges. Care to enlighten us?
Yeah, I do. So we do the Flinders Ranges trip with Osgeo Travel, which we've got a lovely relationship with. But I got a phone call a few months ago, probably 6 months ago, from a gentleman who lives down in Tassie. And he said, "G'day, it's Richard Bennett here. Just wanting to know if the trip into the Flinders Ranges, if my wife Susie can come along, or whether or not is that okay to bring partners." I said, "Yeah, no worries." I'm like, "Are you the Richard Bennett, the gentleman who's shot over 50 Sydney to Hobart races from a plane down around anywhere from Sydney all the way around the bottom of Tasmania?" And yes, this is he. And I'm like, "Wow, that's very cool." I said, "Absolutely, yeah. You're most welcome to book with your wife." So Richard joined us with his wife Susie to come along to our trip to the Flinders Ranges. And Richard he's old school. He's one of the old school photographers. He's in that same ilk as the Peter Eastways and the Tony Hewitts and the Ken Duncans and he even knew Peter Dombrovskis. He actually was the person who nominated Peter to go into the Hall of Fame for photography. So he's been involved with the AIPP for years. He's a master photographer. But he came along, and I must admit, I was a little bit nervous because, you're sort of someone who's so accomplished as a photographer. They're going to pick your photography apart. Are they going to pick the way you do things? They used to do tours as well down here in the southwest of Tassie. So I was just like, oh, this is going to be a bit nerve-wracking. But I said to myself, you know what? It's photography. We're all here for the same reason. We all shoot differently. That's fine. We'll have a great time. He's an absolute legend of a guy. Very funny guy. Really, really nice. Really helpful with all the other guests that were there. He didn't take over anything like that. Not that I would expect him to, but we did get to the point where we're like, right, we've got to do these doors off aerial shots around the pound. And we had 3 flights again. We actually got a flat tire in Cheryl's car, so Cheryl had to duck out to try and get that fixed. So the first flight that she was going to go in, she ended up getting a tire fixed. So I ended up going up in the second and the third flight. And in the second flight, I got to go up with Richard and his wife, Sue. They sat in the back with the door open. I sat in the co-pilot seat with the headset on. We were all talking to each other. But I just had a bit of a surreal moment. We were flying along, and the pilot, Trey, shout out to Trey if he's watching, he's like, well, you just tell me where you want to go, Cam. And I said, I reckon the dude in the back's probably going to tell you where he wants to go. And it was just so natural. Left wing up, turn a bit. Thank you. Yep, got it. Level out. Like just directions. He was just choreographing this shot, these flights. We did a turn in a light plane that I haven't done before. And I'm like, whoa, that's a bit hairy. That's a little bit of a G-force moment where he goes, I need you to tight turn and come back this way. And so we had about a 20-25 minute flight up there, and it was a real privilege to be up there with someone who's spent hours, thousands of hours in planes shooting Australian sport and landscapes and things like that. And just to be up there and listen to how he went about his work was amazing. And it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a bucket list item because I never actually even thought of that happening, but I'll reflect on that years coming that I actually got to go up and shoot with Richard in a plane. And just hearing his story, he had so many stories about the Sydney to Hobart races that he's done. One race they spent a total of, I think it was 56 hours of shooting over the 3 days or 4 days in a plane. Yeah. His daughter Claire, he taught her how to take the shots out of the plane when they had a huge, they had like a record breaking a number of entrants. They weren't going to be able to cover all the boats. So he taught his daughter how to shoot like he does. And to teach her how to shoot like he does, he also taught her how to live in a plane like he does. So he got her to go up in a plane that did the practice stalling and all the other different things, so she knew exactly what to expect. So yeah, just some amazing stories and a lot of laughs. We had a lot of jokes. We had a couple of mics on the trip, and we had John. Shout out to John, who he had more doubt. You think Lynn Lavender's got jokes, man? This guy had a joke for everything. It was hilarious. We had Kay up there. We had a lot of great people up there, and it was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was just great to be up there with someone who's been doing it for over half a century as a photographer, all the way from film to digital. And like I said before, just asking before we got on the plane, like, look, Richard, how would you go about shooting this? And he said, aperture priority, ISO probably up about 800. I'd probably shoot fairly wide open because it's an infinity. And he made a really good point about shooting out the door. If you're shooting straight at the door, then everything's moving quite fast. But if you shoot back up out the wing or back past the wing, things have passed you. They're not moving as the perspective is not moving as fast. So try not to do straight out, try and shoot to the angle a bit. And we had a couple of dips in the plane, so we get just nothing but the floor and get all the greenery and all the riverbeds and stuff like that. So it was very cool. Like I said, lovely guy, and just really nice to sort of hear someone's story that over the last half a century, what they've done and through the film days, through the digital days. And it was nice to say, I must admit, that we shared quite a lot of common thoughts about photography and how we shoot and things like that. So yeah, so shout out to everyone that came on that last AusGeo trip to the Flinders Ranges. But yeah, it was really cool. I had a good time. And
question without notice from me, if that's all right.
Yeah.
What system does Richard shoot on?
So he was shooting, well, up in the Flinders Ranges, he had a Leica black and white only, like a full black and white one, and a little Fuji. But for the races, the Sydney to Hobart stuff, I think he had an R5 and a whole heap of Canon gear that he uses with that. So he's also got the Order of Australian Merit Medal for contributing factors to the photography community. Like, he's done it all. And yeah, like I said, it was just not to blow wind up his ass too much, but it was great to be in the presence of pretty much a legend of the photography game, especially in the aerial side of things, and covering that one race for 50 years. It's a pretty amazing achievement.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, nice
so
one.
And even even one of the nights we got back to the room, even Cheryl said, she goes, "Oh, it's quite funny to watch you around this group." So I actually said it in the group. I said, it's so nice because we just had one moment where everyone was just doing nothing but photography.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so good just to have a group of people who are just here purely for the photography. And that was it. We have our groups, and, there's always a couple of people in the group that maybe aren't as crazy into it as we are. And maybe they like photography, but it's also the travel and the location. And we got back that night, and Cheryl goes, "You were just in your element that day today." She goes, "I've never seen you just locked in so much, where every single one of them was into photography and everyone was just doing their thing. Yeah. And everyone was just in their own little world." I said, "Yeah, it was great." So, we had a great time.
It is cool when that happens. I find that happens a lot and honestly, I mean, we've been lucky over the journey, the tours we've run together, the tours you've run alone, the tours I've run alone, stuff that's happened at BFOP. It's normally when the magic comes, and I love that. Yeah. I mean, I remember we were shooting on the big bus trip in Hotham 2 years ago, and the light just came off the top of Hotham. We had 42 photographers, and myself and Charlie and the driver all taking photos, and it was silence. All you could hear was cameras clicking. It's so that you're quite right. It's a surreal moment when it all sort of happens like that, isn't it? It's cool.
Yeah, and it's sort of it's one of those moments where your job is just the easiest job in the world. You're at this incredible location with this incredible light, with an incredible bunch of people, all doing the same thing that you love. And there's no ego, there's no bullshit, there's no politics, there's no nothing. It's just, there's the landscape and shoot it. And we had a couple of moments on this trip where it was just like, this is great. So, yeah, it was good stuff.
So you're making me look forward to the Flinders Ranges even more now.
I would really, really, if you're going to be up there in 4 weeks, I can reach out, because I know the pilot, because we're best mates now. We've been up in 6 flights. I've got his number, Trey. Oh, yeah, Bestie. I've got his number, Trey. Go up there with the doors off, sitting there with him. He'll take you around the pound. It's really, really worth doing it. And I'm sure there's someone else in your group that can go up with you and split the cost or something like that. So
I have no doubt. I don't think it'd take much arm twisting to get someone else to come up with me. That's for sure. That'd be cool. No.
One thing I would do before you go up there, though, if you do, is maybe check the weather, because this is a segue like you wouldn't believe. I bought something the other day, and it's called the Little Book of Weather.
Well, I like it.
It's not very big. It's tiny, but it pretty much teaches you everything there is to know about weather. And I think this is an essential reading for any landscape or wilderness photographer, or any photographer really, is learning how the weather works, what to expect, what clouds might represent stuff, what weather patterns might bring, frost and fog and all those kind of things. I saw it the other day. This is one of the good things I bought back from Adelaide. When I saw it, went into a bookshop, the 600 bookshop that Cheryl and I went in, because Cheryl lives, eats, breathes, and shits books. She just does nothing but read books. We saw this one. So I bought that, and I thought to myself, you know what? Being a photographer, you should probably buy some books as well. Like, books are really cool to buy and read through and inspire. And when I got home last night, I totally forgot. This is how much shit I buy and don't remember. I bought something on eBay the other day, and I completely forgot about it. But I bought this, and I got rocked up the other day. Ansel Adams 400 photos, and it's just beautiful Ansel Adams photos all the way through.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a big book. I'm getting more into collecting books about photography. Yeah. And speaking of, Richard's got a few books as well. He's going to send out a few books to some of the customers. That's how nice a guy is. But yeah, it just got me thinking that photo books, we should definitely, there's nothing wrong with buying someone else's book of photos and being inspired about a location or a story and things like that. So make sure if you're walking around the bookshops, go into the photography section. There's always a photography section there. Go into the photography section and pick a book that inspires you and read it. That's the message there.
Just looking at my bookshelf over there, it's got a few photographer books on it as well, and I love them. They're good for particularly getting you off a bloody screen and looking at actually the printed word and the printed photo is great. I got a couple of ones from Thomas Heaton. His books are fantastic. They're really good quality publication as well. You can tell he actually gives a toss about color and how they're produced and the kind of papers he uses to print on and all that sort of stuff. That Ansel Adams one, that looks fantastic. Where'd you pick that up from?
It was just on Amazon-y book thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it sort of actually goes through all the decades of him and where he was. So, there's different plant shots. There's the Yosemite, the Sierra region. Goes through everything. Yellowstone. But his stuff. It's all black and white stuff, of course.
Yeah.
But just I know, and I bought a couple of Dombrowski's books and bought even a good friend of the show, Tom Putt's book or whoever it might be. If it's got good photos and it's at a location that you like, and there's always something at a gift shop or bookshop in the location where you are, pick it up and read it because it just gives you inspiration. The other thing that we did on Flinders Ranges the other day, which is a big thing that Richard was talking about as well. Him and his wife said they figured out a few years ago that you can run workshops just without customers. It's much better. And I'm like, how do they manage that? So what they do is they have a little get together every year on Bruny Island. They live on Bruny Island, and they just invite photographers down to come and talk and speak and spend a few days on Bruny. And they sort of bring a print for each other and do a print swap when they get down there, and the person has to talk about the print and why it is. But that one of the nights at Flinders Ranges, he brought his laptop in to show a few photos he'd done because I'd done some the night before. And it was all black and white stuff. And you could just see people go, oh, black and white, that looks so cool. Like, that's great. So it automatically, just by looking at someone else's work, it inspired some of the people in the group to shoot a few black and white shots the next day. So, so highly recommend buying other people's photography books, get inspired, get out there and, have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. What a cool experience to have someone like Richard in your group as well. Like, what a bonus.
It was a little bit surreal. And we had lunch that one day in the Glass Gorge, which is one of the areas up there. And we were sitting around talking, just talking, chewing the fat as you do, and talking about Tassie. And I said, did you happen to know Peter Dombrowskis? Yeah, knew him quite well. Yep. Met him, went out a few times with him, caught up with him a few times. And then he said I was actually the person that instigated getting him inducted into the International Hall of Fame for photography. He goes, yeah, really lovely guy, quite unassuming, just did what he did. And it was like, dude, that's such a snapshot into the I guess the legend of Australian photography. So, but he knew it was quite funny. He sort of knew everyone. He'd been around the game long enough. So you mentioned the name. He goes, yeah, I know them. I knew that person, or I hung out with them and hung out with them. I think he's quite good friends with Peter Eastway. So there's a little bit of cheek about Peter Eastway and what he does. And actually we had a good chat about, how some photographers will take a sky from the Flinders Ranges and a lovely landscape from Kangaroo Island, and then they marry it all together. And there was a few times where Richard was having a bit of a joke with me. He's like, see that sky over there? He goes, yep, Peter would put it over there and put it in a completely different country. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. And he goes, I don't do that shit either. So just a bit of that old school joking, which is lovely. So yeah, it was
cool.
Good.
Very good. Awesome, man. Want to do a bit of housekeeping if we can. Just our July comp, which is up and running on our Facebook page. The photo comp is Paint Your Town Winter. And we've had heaps of entries already, which is great. So that's going to run until the end of July. So you've still got another 3 weeks to get your entry in for that. Thanks for everyone who has been over to the Facebook page and had a look at it. You'll see if you go to our Facebook page, Down South Photo Show, there'll be a pin post there and it'll be the photo comp for July. So jump on, send your photos in. It'll be awesome. I have no idea and cannot remember what prize we're giving for the July comp, but
you will get. That's right. You'll get one of my Tas Photo Workshop hats and a signed copy of my Cradle Mountain book.
The famous, the hat that doesn't fit my head.
Oh man, your head is big. We've got some incredible entries. Just looking through that, this is going to be a real tricky one. I've already got one favorite already, which we might talk about off air, but there is some crackers, absolute crackers in there. There's even one with Scott. When I scrolled through it before, camels in the snow. Yeah,
what?
A shot with camels in the snow. Yeah, so
I'll have to check it out. Sounds good.
Yeah, but yeah, get that get onto that. Drop your entry until the end of July, like you said. We know we've spoken about Kangaroo Island quite a lot already on this trip.
Yes.
We should definitely do a cheeky plug for next year's trip. So
Yeah.
if you have liked what you've seen from Kangaroo Island, and we've only shown you a snippet of what we covered, I've still got about 20 or 30 great shots to share at some stage, but we are in there next June again, next year, 2027, from the 15th to the 19th of June. We have spots still available, but we suspect they're going to sell out once we start actually plugging them. So get on board. Don't miss your spot. It's a lovely spot. We pick you up in Adelaide. We drop you back in Adelaide. We feed you. We bed you. We drive you. We
do what?
We bed you. We accommodate you.
Wow.
We accommodate you.
A whole new twist on the tour.
Well, it depends who's coming. If the price is right. Come along. It's a great fun, a big fun trip. Beautiful spot. But yeah, next June, check your diaries. It's a year away. You got no excuse not to be able to plan to come along.
Yes.
Jump on www.dsps.com.au. Put a deposit down. Payment in full's not due until next year, so it won't break your bank just yet. But get on board and come along and hang out with us.
Yeah, come and see one of Australia's absolute gems for photography. I'm actually pretty keen to go back to Kangaroo Island, take the family over. I'm in love with the place. I think it's absolutely magnificent. I do wish a lot of the places were closer together and the driving wasn't as bad, but hey, I guess it's the payoff is the spots that you get to. The other thing that I don't think we even mentioned yet was, although I did say earlier that the island felt busy, just about every location we went to, we were on our own.
It was empty.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. It's only busy about 5 kilometers anywhere in radius of the ferry.
Yep.
And that's it. And yes, there is a bit of driving on the island, but the good thing is that people don't have to drive it. We do it for you.
That's exactly right.
But we are looking at options there as to how we can make the driving. It's one of the payoffs for going there is that you got to do a little bit of driving, but the payoff is that you get to these amazing locations and have them to yourself. But check out all the details. Come with us next June. We've got to do something next June, so don't leave us hanging. Otherwise, I'll have to get a real job.
Head over to dsps.com.au and check out our workshops. Check out all the other stuff we've got going on that website as well, that fabulous website, which we update all the time. I
updated 2 days ago. It's updated.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So, Cam, you now remarkably have a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, pretty much a couple of weeks off. I do have one of my master classes, not this weekend, next weekend. That's just got a couple of people, so that'll be a pretty easy couple of days. But apart from that, I am not doing anything until I see you at the Great Ocean Road in a couple of weeks.
I know, that's going to roll around. That's only a couple of weeks away as well, back down the Great Ocean Road again. I'm looking forward to that. And can I, and you don't have to, but you've raised a few eyebrows with some social media posts of late. Something very mysterious that you're planning.
Well played. Yeah, well played.
Do you want to?
I am.
Would you like to plug that a little bit as well?
Well, yeah, if you want to. No one listens this far anyway. So,
well, that's true.
So that's true. When's this going out? Is this going out tomorrow?
This will go out on Friday evening. This will go out on Friday, the 10th of July, 2026.
Right. So, along the way somewhere, it must have been on the Kangaroo Island trip, I think. We're talking about workshops that we do and where we go, and we're lucky that we get to travel everywhere. And then as a kid growing up, one of my fondest memories was going on a mystery flight. You'd rock up at Melbourne Airport. I wouldn't tell you where you're going until you got there. Mum took my brother and I a couple of times. I figured out why I don't like Adelaide. So when we did it twice, and both times we went to Adelaide. So they put you on a plane, didn't tell you where you're going until you got to the airport, and we got Adelaide 2 years in a row. So that got me thinking, and I've been thinking for a little while. I'm like, what about if you ran a photography tour but didn't tell people where you're going? So out of that was born the Mystery Photography Tour, where we are launching that on the weekend. So actually tomorrow, if you're listening to this on the 10th of July, it actually goes out lunchtime, Australian Eastern Standard Time, on my website, camblakphotography.com.au. It'll be there. I suspect it'll be sold out because we have currently, do you want to have a guess how many people we've got on the wait list now, Brendan?
40.
just below 35 people
Well, there you go.
are on the wait list for this tour that we haven't. So you don't know where you're going. You got to meet at an airport. You obviously know the flight. When you get there, we'll say, hey, guess what? Here's your ticket. And you'll say, oh, we're going to Adelaide. Lucky us. But you won't know where the workshop or the tour is going to go. It'll go to another capital city, but from there we will drive to the secret location of where this workshop's going to be. It'll be 4 nights, 5 days. It's and I did and I didn't. I was 50-50 as to whether or not this would grow legs, but the amount of emails I've got from people saying this is a cool idea, sign me up. So we're going to run one. It's going to be May next year, May 24th to the 29th. Don't ask me where we're going because you won't get told. There's a few caveats on it. One, I said you don't get told where you're going. We'll tell you what to bring, what clothing and what sort of environment you're going to be in. We will try and not go back to your capital city. So if we all meet in Sydney and then we go back to Melbourne, that might not work. But so we're gonna figure that out. Once we know who's booked in there, we'll be able to sort of we've got a few ideas up our sleeve. We've got probably about 3 or 4 locations that will work.
It'd be hilarious if I got on a flight and went to Sydney and met you, and then you came back to Melbourne and went down the Great Ocean Road.
Yeah. Well, this is what we're trying to avoid is that exact thing happening. But one of the conditions are that there's no refunds. So if you go on this trip and you go, but hang on, you just took me back to my own state and I've been to the Grampians before, or I've been to Great Ocean Road before, or I've been to Ballarat before. Yeah. Tough titties. That is the whole idea. We're going to have a lot of fun. It'll be a full-on photography workshop tour. They're going to be great locations. We'll give you that. They're going to be cool locations. Maybe not the normal locations you think of workshops. Maybe we're not going Naya West. I can tell you that. It's not happening. Kerrang. So
Naya West would be awesome. Naya West is a great spot for photos, but Kerrang.
True, Naya West is very cool. So anyway, like we said, we put it out there to my mail list and we got instant people replying. I don't think we're going to have a problem selling this out, and I reckon it'll sell out within minutes. But if you are online and you are lucky, the 11th of July at 12 o'clock midday. So what
you're saying is no one will know the location, let alone the people going. No one will know until it actually happens.
Yeah. I'll know.
Very cool.
I'll know.
Will you tell me?
Nope, not telling anyone. It's the only person that's going to know is probably Cheryl, because she's going to be on there helping. But
no, don't tell her either.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't tell her either. Guess what, Cheryl? We're going to Perth.
That's right.
If you could just fly all the way from Perth and just go straight back. So yeah, we're not going to tell anyone where we're going. So all they're going to be told is, congratulations, you're on the mystery tour. You need to be at Sydney Domestic Airport Terminal, whatever, at this time on that date. See you there. And this is what you need to bring. And obviously they'll get on a plane. It's going to tell them what state they're going to, but they won't know the location until we actually rock up to the location, the hotel or whatever it is, and away we go. So
cool. I think it's great. It's a cool concept. And it's also, so you go.
I was going to say it could work spectacularly or it could fail spectacularly. I don't know yet, but we'll see.
Nah, I don't know how it can fail, because you know, people will trust that you're not going to Kerrang, and you know you're gonna go somewhere where they can take cool photos. So really cool concept. Hats off to you. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Good luck with it. So that goes up on Cam's website. That's linked below if you want to check out Cam's website, and my website and the show's website and our Facebook page and all that sort of stuff. It's all linked in the comments section below this very video. I think we've come to the end of another episode.
What have you got on the next few weeks before us?
Well, I'm cramming. I've got a fair bit to get through. I say this after we do every workshop. I have a week off. I come back to 3 weeks of work, and that's fine. I'm wading my way through it. Pretty much knocked it on the head this time. I'll tell you what I did do the other day was rearrange my shop, which I quite enjoyed doing. A bit more work to do on that yet, but I'm getting pretty close. I'm going to lose my prized employee for she's gone and got herself a pre-apprenticeship, so that's exciting. So I'm sort of working around Whether when I'm away at the Flinders Ranges, whether I even open the shop, I might actually have a couple of weeks proper break, which I think's actually, the more I think about it, it sits pretty well with me. So trying to sort of work out logistics with that.
Can that question without notice, don't answer if you don't want to, but is that something you can financially do to shut the shop for a couple of weeks and be okay?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could. Yeah. It's not just the financial loss. It's not a loss, but it's not, I won't make money for 2 weeks at the shop. It's also, I've got to be careful because, you don't want to upset people. But if I give people plenty of notice and say, right, this is what's happening, I'm sorry, but your photos of your holiday are going to have to wait for a couple of weeks, then I'm sure people will understand that. It'll just be interesting with, because I offer a 24/7 online printing service, whether I might be able to farm that off to another. I've got a couple of mates in the industry to print photos, so they might be able to do them for me, that sort of thing. We'll just see. I'll just sort of, as I say, put the feelers out with that, or whether we just open on weekends or something like that. So sort of working out those logistics. But 2 weeks time, Great Ocean Road with you. I'm literally back in Ocean Grove for 1 day, and then I'm off to Flinders Ranges and Lake Eyre and Simpson Desert. So that'll be good. Looking forward to it. And then before you know it, mate, it's going to be into springtime again, and away we go again. And the silly season's going to go nuts here on the Bellarine Peninsula. So
we'll be up at BFOP.
Goodness me, BFOP. That's just going to happen. The 10th anniversary BFOP. That's coming around quick too.
Yeah, I just booked my flights up actually today. I booked my flight up to Melbourne for that, and
nice.
And then I fly out to Scotland the day after it finishes. So hopefully I'm sober.
Do you need a lift? Do you want to come up with me?
Maybe I've got a 6:30 flight the next morning in Melbourne on the Monday.
All right. Well, the Carnival of Courage will not be leaving bright at that hour.
No. I'm gonna drive back to Melbourne Sunday night and stay at the airport and do stuff like that.
Makes all kinds of sense. Absolutely.
Yes. So hey, not a footy show, but Freo Freo's half time hasn't kicked a goal yet
against the Sydney Swans.
Half time, the score is 11 behinds to 4 goals 9.
It must be raining, surely.
It's in Perth. It doesn't rain in Perth.
I'm going to, because this will go out after that game's finished. I bet Freo wins.
I think it's going to be a draw.
Put your Superman capes on. It's Wharfie time. That's what they're going to say. This is not a footy show. Thanks for everyone for joining us for episode 190. What was it? 193 of the Down South Photo Show. Yeah. We may even, because Mr. Blake is now home for a couple of weeks, we may even be able to squeeze in another episode next week.
Let's do it.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
we should.
People won't know I did them.
No, they won't. That's it. Thanks for sharing us around and joining us and liking us and following the show. Say goodbye, Cameron.
Goodbye, Cameron. See you next week.
We will probably see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.